But heading overseas now, the United Nations Security Council is drafting new sanctions against North Korea in response to the regime's launch of a long-range missile. North Korea's government insists the rocket was sending a satellite into orbit, but international security experts say the evidence suggests a far more worrying agenda. Anne Barker has our report.
As the world expressed condemnation, North Koreans were outwardly applauding their leaders as news of the rocket launch broadcast on a big screen in Pyongyang. I feel very proud to be a university student of a country that excels in science and technology, which can launch an Earth satellite with its own technology, said one young man. North Korea says the launch of its satellite, named after its late leader Kim Jong-il, was a complete success and that it's now orbiting the Earth every 94 minutes. It's another historical event which makes us proud to live in the great Mount Paktu nation with great dignity, says another man watching the news. But in Washington and at the United Nations, there was a very different reaction.
The members of the Security Council strongly condemn this launch.
UN members said the launch was clearly a front for a long-range missile test. They've accused North Korea of a deplorable violation of UN resolutions. The US ambassador to the UN is Samantha Power.
Pyongyang claims it launched what it called a peaceful Earth observation satellite. But nobody is fooled. So-called space launch vehicles are the same technology as ballistic missiles, which are expressly prohibited by multiple Security Council resolutions.
The deputy head of South Korea's ruling party, Lee Chul-woo, says evidence from the launch proves the rocket was a ballistic missile. In order for it to be a satellite, at least 800 kilograms should be loaded, he said. Our Arirang 3 rocket was loaded with 1,100 kilograms, and that way it functioned as a satellite. But since North Korea's rocket was only 200 kilograms, it has no value as a satellite. It's a missile, a ballistic missile. The latest launch adds to fears that North Korea will soon have the missile capacity to strike the US, and South Korea says Pyongyang is preparing for a 5th nuclear test. US Ambassador Samantha Power has called for tough measures against Pyongyang.
The DPRK will continue to escalate tensions in the absence of a strong and forceful response from the international community. The accelerated development of North Korea's nuclear and ballistic missile program poses a serious threat to international peace and security, to the peace and security not just of North Korea's neighbors, but the peace and security of the entire world.
The UN says it will adopt a new resolution authorising sanctions against North Korea, but to succeed, it'll need the support of Pyongyang's strongest ally, China. Australia's Foreign Minister Julie Bishop says Beijing has the ability to exert more pressure on North Korea.
I know that the Chinese leadership say that their influence is not as strong as the rest of the international community may believe, but I feel sure that there's more China can do to persuade North Korea to step back from this precipice of developing a nuclear weapon that could threaten not only our friends and neighbours in the region, but more broadly.
The US has now begun talks with South Korea on an advanced missile defence system to counter the growing threat from North Korea. South Korea's Deputy Minister of National Defence Policy is Yoo Jae-sung.
As we have noted in the past, North Korea's strategic provocation and its refusal to engage in authentic and credible negotiations on denuclearization compel the alliance to take these types of defensive measures. If the THAAD system were deployed to the Korean Peninsula, it would be focused solely on North Korea and contribute to a layered missile defense that would enhance the alliance's existing missile defense capabilities against potential North Korean missile threats.
That's South Korea's Deputy Minister of National Defence Policy, Yoo Jae-sung, ending Anne Barker's